Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast. I'm Ten Types, as I was joined by Uncommon Fossil.
Hello, glad to be here and glad to be talking some Pokemon TCG and not this case Pokemon TCG Pocket, the other Pokemon TCG.
Yeah. We talked about that before. I'm sure we'll talk about it again. That's off to an interesting start, I should say. But today we're talking about some new reveals, including this pack run, which is not a new reveal. It
Well, hang on. So these are going to be part probably of our Surging Spark set coming in November. I think all the cards we're talking about have been released for the Japanese set Supercharged Breaker that comes October to them.
Yes, and if you didn't know, well, I don't know exactly what's in Surging Sparks, but I know that there is going to be obviously Supercharged Breaker, which is similar names there.
Yeah,
And then there's also the expansion, the Japanese expansion, Paradise Dragana, which
yeah.
has also I don't know, like the set names in Japan or the symbols are kind of weird. So Stellar Miracle, which is Stellar Crown, is Scarlet and Violet 7, and then Paradise Dragana is 7A, but I feel like 7A should be the first one to 7. Anyways, so Paradise Dragana had it's supposed to be like dragon themed, but like I'm pretty sure like Flygon and like Black Hiram, and then Latias, they're dragon Pokemon, but they're not dragon type in the TCG, which is in like Arcaludon as well. There are some like solid dragons. There's some solid cards. I think we've talked about them in the past.
I, I
Have we?
I think we did, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Certainly,
I've
you've
certainly
talked
talked
about
about
it on
them.
your channel.
Yeah.
I assume.
There's like a Caledon EX. There's some solid cards certainly, but today we're taking a look at
Well, hang
the
on. So,
other half.
so the other thing coming out are the things in the EX decks, the Stellar Sylveon EX deck and the Stellar Saraledge, right? Which is been the fire deck in the Japanese tournaments that have been doing well, but we haven't had it. Which I think we're supposed to get those cards too.
In Surging Sparks.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, that's interesting. That's cool. So, yeah, those cards are also pretty solid. There's like some new ace specs, two Stellar EXs, a card to search for Terra Pokemon, just an item that does that, and yeah, that's about it. But there are
Yep.
some like solid cards there. But then we're gonna be taking a look at first. There's this pack hunt which isn't new. Well, I don't know. It's like kind of new. It's not new if you're international. Well, if you're the U.S. certainly. It's not like a brand new card. It was a promo, but it got banned for the World Championships because it was like not available in all the countries or something. It was very bizarre. But
Right.
anyways, so that was a thing, but it's not that good. It's kind of mediocre. But then we have this Eternus, a dragon Pokemon, which has 150 HP, has of course no weakness, to retreat, and for one darkness you do Dynablast, which does 10 or 90 to an EX. Then for Fire Darkness you do 230. Discard a Stadium in play, but you have to discard a Stadium in play, otherwise you can't do anything with the attack.
Yeah. So look, on its own, obviously doing attacking for one energy, if you could do 90 is not bad. But the problem is you only does 90 to a multi-price Pokemon, so you're like three-shotting a multi-price Pokemon, which isn't very good. And doing 10 to something is basically useless. The second attack doing 230 is pretty good, but powering it up, it's Fire, Darkness, pretty bad. So I guess the question is, does it go in a Regidrago deck? That's probably the only use I can see likely for this card.
Yeah, and I feel like it's okay there. I mean, I don't really play Reggie Draco. I'm just gonna open up like a random Reggie Draco list, and I don't know what they play in terms of stadiums. This one plays a Templacino and a Jamming Tower, which are just like okay stadiums, but you're not going to consistently have a stadium in play. And then, of
Right.
course, Dragapult EX is the main attacker. That's hitting 200 plus stuff, and that to the bench, but not to the active. And then you have, so 230 is more valuable than 200 to the active. You look at just lots of basic two prizers.
Right.
They are like 210 to 230. And then you do have Giratina V-Star, though, which you can use, and that's like more reliable. We'll be discarding your energies, or lost owning your energies, I should say, which is noticeably worse.
Right.
But Eternus here is like, I think it's like you could play. It is also a basic. Basics are kind of bad in that deck
Right.
because you could start them.
Right. You'd have to start it. If you have to get it in play, that's not good. You're not going to have the energies to ever attack with it, and the retreat cost is 2. So, it's I imagine the deck's probably better off without this, but maybe there's some use for it that someone will come up with.
Yeah, there is the other. So I've not really played with this much, but there is Ditto, right? With I mean, there you could do it with the glass trumpet. I haven't really done that. It seems kind of awkward, but you
Okay.
could have like a Ditto box, and this could be solid in that. I feel like both attacks are usable, but the first attack is certainly solid. 90 for one is actually very good, but it's just not something you want to be attacking with over and over again. But certainly as your first attack, that's okay. And then also like 230 for three is good. It is a weird attack cost, so I don't know if you'll have those types in the deck. But I feel like Dynablast like is it's a solid first attack. I mean, you played with Hoopa, right, with the Eternus
Right.
VMAX deck, which you couldn't play this in, but that was just 90 for one, and that was solid. And you'd knock out single prizes, but you'd also hit into two prizes, right?
Yeah, you would. Usually you prefer to be finishing off. Obviously, the fact that you're only doing 10 to the single prizes isn't good. The other way to play it, which I had forgotten, I had figured this one out before, is don't forget Thornton's in format here, right? So now you can attack with this turn one. You just got to have get this in the discard pile, get your darkness Pokemon on the bench, get to the the item card that
Dark patch, yeah.
Dark Patch, and then Thornton, and attach in a way, and switch, and away you go. So then you're doing 230 turn one single prize, right? Doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, nice and easy. Also, one thing with these cards, they're coming out in November. This is the last expansion of the year.
Yes,
Um, I think I know there might be like mini stuff, but this is the last main expansion before rotation. Well, I mean the other expansion will be like with rotation, the first one
I
next year.
guess. Well, that's not announced though, right? I don't think they've
Oh,
said when that will be.
yeah, I just assumed it is probably when rotation happens. So that'll be a thing, and so rotation is all the cards from the what 2 or 3 years ago. It's all the Sword and Shield cards that
Right.
you can't play them anymore. So you can't play Reggie Draco. You can't play. Um,
You would lose
I,
Thornton too, right?
yeah, you can't. You lose Thornton. You lose Ditto. You lose Magma Basin as well. You lose Dark Patch, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be playing this card. Probably. Well, I don't know. Who knows? We might have different stuff by then as well. Also, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a dragon themed set, and all the dragon cards are going to be bad and like, or not necessarily bad, but lose like half their value without Reggie Draco in like it soon. So
Right. I mean, Dragapult obviously is the dragon deck, but you don't play any of these other dragon Pokemon in it. So
yeah. But anyways, I don't think there's too much more to say about Eternus. But
no.
we have some more Pokemon to look at, some more like basics. I was gonna say legendaries. I don't know what legendary or mythicals are. I don't think these are. It's ancient and future. Anyways, with they are not evolving, we have Iron Bundle here, which does for water colorless. It does 200, but it does 50 less for each for each energy cost in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost, or each
Yeah.
colorless energy. So
It's
I
pretty
don't know. This
bad,
seems
is what
kind
I
of
got to
cool.
say, right? I mean, 'cause it's three energies, so you're playing it like with Baxcalibur or something, right? Because how else are you going to power it
Yeah.
up? And then why would you? And then this is not the attacker you want to put. I guess for a single prize, if you're doing 200, it's not bad, but you're going to be doing less than that. So it's just not good. I don't think.
Yeah. It one shots Mew EX. And like
Okay.
that's it. I mean, it one shots some single prizers, but
Yeah.
it one shot Mew EX is like cool, I guess, but obviously that's not really like it's not great. It's just I don't know. Yeah, it's a card. Uh,
Yeah. At this point, there's not. Don't see a reason for people to play it, but maybe something that would come up that's dominant, but it doesn't seem very interesting. The other
oh
card.
wait, so
Go ahead.
with Iron Bundle, I forgot there it is a future Pokemon, so you could like buff its damage, and then you could be one shotting like Squawkabilly EX or
Right.
Lumineon V. That will be rotating, but like Lumineon V, um, you'll be hitting 150, 170 with whatever, Future Boost Energy Capsule or Iron Crown EX. So
Right.
that is like very moderate value, but it seems kind of bad as well.
Yeah, and I wasn't thinking that in a future box, but I guess with Miraidon, which that type of deck hasn't been played for a bit, but obviously that helps get energies in play. But maybe you could drop a copy in, but you need water energy and stuff, so it seems unlikely.
Yeah.
But the other card in that same release is the ancient Pokemon. It's Fluttermane, and this is the one I think that has more potential play. The first attack, colorless, bewildering transfer, and again, you don't know the names if they're what the final name will be, but the other information is correct. For two energies, you move all damage counters from one of your benched ancient Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. which could have some value, right? The other attack, what for Psychic? Psychic does 70, and then defending Pokemon's attacks do 30 less damage. That's not very good, I don't think. I don't even think you'd be dropping it in Gardevoir. I mean, I guess that's where you drop it in the near term if you thought you wanted to. But this first attack is the one in some type of an ancient box. Now, the single prize Roaring Moon deck, I don't think would want it because you're getting one shot. Although you're still with the tool 200 HP on it, so you're not always getting one shot. But if you have the Roaring Moon EX, and you've attacked with it, but hopefully but somehow your opponent didn't knock it out, you could retreat to the bench and then use this attack. But the problem is your Roaring Moon EX probably just gets knocked out on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, like I've heard people say that they want to be able to like heal it up next turn, even with like other stuff, and I'm just like, whenever I play against Roaring Moon EX, I always and they like do their big attack, I'm always like, I'm gonna knock that out because it can one shot any of my Pokemon now still,
Yeah,
and also it's a two price with like no HP. So yeah, Flutter Mane seems pretty niche. Trying to think if there's any like weird combos. Like you could like damage yourself some, but
right,
it's not that much outside of the Roaring Moon EX attack.
right, because
Yeah.
it's restricted to ancient Pokemon, so it makes it tougher to do. What I was thinking though is because you mentioned rotation before, a card like Roaring Moon EX, we lose. No, I guess I was wrong. I was gonna say we lose Mist Energy, but we don't, do we?
No, I don't know what set that came
I think
in.
that's got the silver border though, right? I do believe. No,
Yeah, it's Temporal Forces. Okay.
so yeah, sorry. So I take that back.
Wait, what would
That's
that have to do with?
well,
Oh, because
Roaring
Flutter
Moon,
Mane
like a
like
card like
it's
Roaring Moon EX would get a lot better if Mist Energy rotated.
yeah, that's true. Also, Mr. Energy would stop Flutter Mane. Actually, I don't know what happens with Flutter Mane. Like
Oh,
if you move your damage counters.
yeah, I'm not sure if that gets weird. I'm not sure if that's the same thing as Mist Energy. What stops effects of attacks, right?
Yeah,
But you're
no, it definitely would stop. I'm pretty sure the damage being placed on your opponent, but I don't know if that means you don't like heal yourself. That could be.
oh,
Anyways, um,
yeah, that's not. Yeah, so Flutter Mane is right now probably not very good is my guess, but maybe
yeah,
something
honestly,
they'll
it
come
might
up
be
with.
worse than Iron Bundle. Like it's more interesting, but Iron Bundle has like it's a mediocre like attacker, not like one that I'd really play almost ever, but it does have
Right.
it's not like its stats are that bad. It's okay. There are better cards, but there are worse cards as well. Flood means like very niche. Theoretically good in those niche situations, but
Right, but getting there doesn't seem super likely. The nice thing is it's two colorless, so a double turbo powers it up and obviously doesn't reduce the damage. So that's the nice thing. If you have a deck that can actually utilize it, you can power it up in a turn. It's a basic, so if you come with a usage for it, it has that going for it.
yeah. Then the next card we have here is well, there's three. It's a stage two line. It's Skeledirge, but there's a
Yep.
four Coco and Crocolore, which Skeletors in there's no like good Skeletors in standard. There are some that are like okay, but it's not like we're looking at basics. I feel like this basic can't be the best either because it has 80 HP. Um,
And retreat cost of
actually,
two. I don't know if you get options for lower
yeah.
retreat
Um,
cost.
oh, there are no 70 HP for Cocos, which is unfortunate for Skeletors, but whatever.
Okay.
Skeletors here though has its ability Unaware. It's of course a stage two. It does 3 retreat as well, 180 HP, fire type, normal stat stuff, but its ability Unaware prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. We've seen this before. Also, it says in parentheses here, damage is not an effect, which is again kind of confusing. Um, I almost said Liquidity Street Pocket doesn't have effects of attacks, but it does. So ignore that. They don't have like placing damage counters, I don't think. But they anyways, so it stops effects of attacks like instant knockouts or like damage counters being placed through like Sableye or something.
Right.
But then we
And
have
Dragapult obviously being a real thing. So,
yes, although generally you'd want to stop Dragapult on like your basics to stage ones. Um, I mean, it's not like it's bad to stop it on your stage two,
right.
but it's less impactful.
Yeah.
Then you have Flare Recital for Fire Carlos, 60, 20 more for each bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's.
Yeah, so look, I think it's appealing. We talked briefly about it before starting this podcast about this, and I'm more excited about than you because I think Palkia is a good Palkia V Star is a good Pokemon, a good attacker. I think you would agree about that. I
Yes,
imagine.
I'd say it's like probably a top 10 deck right now. And certainly it's been really good at times as well.
Yeah.
It's never been like terrible.
No, when it first came out, it was a top what 5 deck, I think it's pretty
Yeah,
safe to
I'll
say.
actually check quickly on Play Limitless, which I got open. Yeah, it was the top deck, based on plays, and
Yeah.
his win rate's actually very good as well. Wow, this is actually really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, the new decks are always a little overrated because part of it is more people play it. Obviously, it gets more wins and such, but it was very good. And it did fall off, but it's made a resurgence. So Skeledirge is very the attack is the same, right? So first off, the ability is good. The attack for two energies, fire, colorless, and right now we do have magma basin, so you can power it up in one turn. You can't get into play one turn because you have to have a basic down first, but that's okay. You can drop basics down. Of course, you can't, as you mentioned. There's no 70 HP basic, so that is makes it a little more difficult. But look, Palkia's um, damage is good. It's the same thing, 60 plus 20 for each bench Pokemon. If you play a Terra Pokemon in your deck, then you can play the area 0 Underdepths and get 8 in your bench. So you can do well over 200 damage. So you can certainly one-shot a basic EX or V, even if without your opponent filling up their bench completely. So it in that sense, it's very good, right? Palkia's attack on a single prize Pokemon. I think the fact that it's a stage 2 is kind of a fair trade off to the V Star because that's essentially a stage 1, but it gives up 2 prizes. So I think that's this, putting that attack on this attack on a stage 2, I think is the right balance for Pokemon.
I guess. I feel like it's yeah, I guess so. I feel like it wouldn't be super broken on stage 1. I mean, the ability, I feel like it's not that good. Like it has some situations where it's nice, but I feel like a lot of the time it's like not impactful. Um
Yeah,
and then you have the attack. You said it you can use Magma Basin, but then you can't use Area Zero Underdepths. I mean, you could like
that's
switch
true.
between them or something. But that seems really awkward. So like having even in like standard right now, if you need a certain stadium, probably Area Zero Underdepths. It's I imagine the best stadium in the game right now. It's hard to find when you need it, but if you need like two stadiums in one turn, you can't play multiple stadiums in one turn. But you can like do weird stuff where you like switch stadiums out to like kind of get by, but that seems really awkward. So I feel like the energy is awkward. Like you don't have Palkia's ability. Palkia's ability is part of
Right.
what makes it good. I feel like that's more important than his attack because it does allow you to power up other things, but allows you to power up itself essentially for the entire game. So that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not powering up the Radiant Greninja with the 3 energies, you're powering up the Palkia you're attacking with, getting 1 energy on your second Palkia, so you don't basically have no energy problems the rest of the game because you do 1 or 2 attachments the rest of the game and you're good to go. So you're right. It's going to be a lot harder. Being stage 2 is it makes it a lot more difficult, right? Because it's probably a rare candy thing, and then getting energy on's a little trickier because you are probably getting one shot most of the time, whereas with Palkia, you're hoping not to get one shot every time. So it's not as good as Palkia. I'm not saying it is. I think it would be probably too good on a single prize though. I mean, on stage
Stage
one,
one.
stage one.
Um, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, its HP would be lower. Like if it was this HP, it would be very good.
Yeah.
Um,
It,
like with all these stats. But if it was like nerfed just a tiny bit, I feel like it wouldn't be like that good. I mean, it would be solid though. Oh, I just remembered there was a what's it? There's the Frigiraffe. I don't know why I thought of that, but the Frigiraffe, which does 40 for each stage one you have in play, so you could have nine stage ones in play now. Um, yeah, that was
okay.
kind of random, but you could do that. Um,
All right, just a random deck idea there. We're throwing
yeah.
out as a
Oh, it was
bonus.
like related to Skeledirge, where you have air zero under depths, but you need like a stage one Terra. You can't have the basic Terra. Anyways, so yeah, Skeledirge, I feel like is about as good as that.
Yeah, like yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, of all the cards we've talked about so far, this one must probably has the most upside. I'm guessing.
I think the Eternus is better than the Skeledirge, but they're not like that good. If you were like putting them on a tier list, they're certainly not higher than B tier. I feel like they're at highest
You
like
said what?
C tier, which is
Oh,
B.
yeah. No, these
Yeah.
these are probably no. There's good cards that are coming. These are probably like D tier. I'm not even sure. D.
I feel like they're like being optimistic. They could be like I feel like C is like okay for some of them, but I mean
Okay.
this is kind of a weird tier lists are all like subjective and like
Yeah.
kind of wishy washy. So they're fun, but You don't really like tier lists either. Um,
No, the
well,
Skeletor.
I like tier lists.
I think is interesting. It could be you could give it a try for a rogue deck is what I'd say, or just or a have fun kind of deck is what I'd
I
say.
guess. I feel like it's not that fun either. Like it's kind of boring, but
Yeah, yeah, and I guess it depends on obviously how you view those things. So
yeah. Anyway, now we're going to talk about the next set of cards. Also, we're going in reverse, like chronological order of reveals, um,
right.
just because. But anyways, so now we're taking a look at what the Terra High Dragon EX and stuff, right?
Yes. Yep. And
So,
these are all Surging Sparks cards. Probably they're all. I
yep.
mean, they're all part of the. Oh wait, this one here is yeah,
Yeah, no, it is Supercharged
Supercharged
Breaker as well.
Breaker. I think they're all Supercharged Breakers. What I meant to say.
Yeah, they are. Which should be Surging Sparks. But we
Yes.
got Melodic EX here, which I think is good. We were talking a little before, and you seem to think it wasn't
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Um,
It has a place in the game.
Yeah, Milotic EX here, just a normal stage 1 with its ability, which says prevent all damage and effects done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Terra Pokemon's attacks. Terra, not Stellar, but not EX either. It's not stopping all EXs, but it is stopping Charizard EX, Dragapult EX, Trapghost EX. And then
Right.
you have an attack here, Watercolor's Colors 160, and puts them to sleep. And this attack isn't particularly good. It's not like completely unusable though.
No, because the thing I don't like about it, I think the attack's pretty bad because it's 3 energy. That's the problem. Now you can attack. You can do it in 2 turns with a double turbo. You can do it with Excalibur, but then you could drop it in like a Champao Excalibur as a walling Pokemon option in that deck. That's one way you do it. And then just have it in that. You could put it in. I forgot. I had something else to say, but I don't remember. You could put it in a Palkia at this V Star. That could help power it up if you think that's what you want to do. You could put it as like a maybe a 1/1 or something in Palkia as well as kind of the walling option. That helps you power it up. Or I'm thinking most likely it just goes in a some type of a walling control deck, right, where you have a whole bunch of different walling abilities, and this is now adds to that mix, right? That's probably where this thing gets used.
Wall Stall, which is a solid, like
Yeah,
it's an okay deck right now with there's a few options. There's Mimikyu, there is Cornerstone Master Ogerpon EX, and
right.
then there is Northern EX. There are other cards as well, but those are the main ones. I feel like Milotic EX fits pretty nicely in there. Um Actually, I don't know, it's a little weird. Like Mimikyu stops pretty much all the same things. Um,
Right.
but also not exactly all the same things. So there is some like solid value in Milotic EX, and it is a better attacker than Mimikyu. And Terra Pokemon are quite good right now. Just looking at the metagame, Charizard EX is good, Dragapult EX is good, Trapghost EX is good. Um, and yeah, those are like the big three. They are some of the best decks in the game. Probably, I think Dragapult and Charizard are the top two in my opinion, and then I'd say Trap Ghost maybe. I haven't made a tier list for the or like rank the decks for the um this format yet, really. But I feel like Trap Ghost is it's easily top 10. They're all easily top 10 decks. And this is walling all of them, giving you essentially auto wins there, which is like really good. Um, yeah, I feel like it's a good card.
Yeah, I mean, when this comes out, depending how much it gets played, you'll need an uptick in your canceling colognes, and there are obviously a number of attackers that hit through effects too. So you have that. That might become more of a relevant thing to have in decks too, depending how many people start splashing this in the deck. I don't think a Milotic deck in and of itself is going to be a thing, just because the attack
Yeah,
is not good getting it powered up. You just can't spend 3 turns attaching to your Pokemon and think you're going to win. But
yeah. There are some other Milotics in standard though. There's the Milotic with Lifeboat, which is kind of like cancel, or no, it's kind of like Echoing Horn. Brings a Pokemon, a basic from your opponent's discard, puts it onto their
hmm,
bench. It could be from yours. Um, oh wait, no, it had. You also have to do whatever. It's like, um, how's this work? I haven't played with this card. Oh,
the
each player
Milotic.
puts a basic, so they choose. Never mind. But that's still like it's a control card. I haven't like played it. I haven't really seen anyone play it, but it's like a control card. Then there's the other one, which is really solid. Mentally Calm is the ability, and it says opponent's Pokemon to play and all cards attached can't be put into your opponent's hand. So um, that's also a solid like card for control decks. So you could use the other Milotics for control. The Lifeboat one's not as good as I thought, but it's still solid. Um,
Right.
and then
Yeah, I mean, the
You
mentally
have
calm
like
ability was getting used some, so that may see a resurgence of that, right, if they're playing the other Milotic, this
yeah.
EX.
So I think I think this card's like a pretty solid card, not like broken or anything, but I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it has a place in some decks. It's not again that yeah, the attack is very underwhelming. So, but I guess that's fair because the ability is pretty strong, obviously. So, if the attack was too easy to power up, if it was too energy, that would probably be too good. If it did much more damage, that would probably be too might be too good as well.
Yeah, I feel like the attack's pretty similar to Cornerstone Mass Ogre Upon EX, which is just like this mediocre attack, but it's there for the ability, and the attack is usable. It's similar attack cost. It's two colors and then one of the type that it is. So I
Right.
think Milotic's definitely a card that is worth watching out for and will be good, but
Yeah.
not like amazing.
In compared to the Ogre though, they're basics, right? So so like being walling off on a basic is a lot better than the ability on an evolution. You got to get going because if your opponent knows what once you have to play down the basic the first turn, so your opponent potentially can target that before you can get
Yeah,
it
wait, how much
evolved.
HP is the Feebas? I know it's like low. Feebas is 30. Yeah, okay. Not great, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Um,
So
we
even
haven't
if
seen
you
the
get two
Feebas.
in play, your Dragapult opponent just will knock them both out.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine. Next we got Tapu Koko. It has two attacks. The first one searches for two lightning Pokemon for one colorless, but then the second attack here, prize counter, which I think we've seen on something else, but I don't remember. For lightning colorless, 90, but if you're down on prizes, then you do 180, which is solid.
Yeah, but it's three energies, so we got to use energy acceleration, right? And we can't
Yeah, I mean
use
it's like a you could
rever-
use electric generator.
yeah, but see, it would work if it's an evolution. You could use reversal energy, right? That's the one that, but it has to be an evolution, right?
Yeah.
And behind on prizes, that's the type of thing like with the Lux Ray, and it all kind of works together. The fact is, do I really want to use my electric generator or something on this when I could have something else? That's
I mean, it's a
the
good single prizer, right? Like it's not a broken single prizer, but it's a solid single
yeah, but
prizer.
I'm gonna have to use one or two generators probably to power it up on that turn, right? And that's
Yeah,
not
and it does have one
good.
retreat and not free retreat as well, but
Yeah, so it maybe if you're playing a Maridon box deck, you might put this in. I'm not sure. You have to probably have generators, or there is the way to accelerate to lightnings also. But the
wait, what?
Pokemon with the ability, right? That's in the. We're gonna talk about that one too, I believe,
Oh, there's a Pokemon that accelerates to lightning Pokemon?
or lightning energy or something.
Oh, maybe there is. I don't remember. Oh, yeah,
The
there is. Yeah,
Magneton.
that one's also not a new card.
Well,
Um,
I thought it was a new card.
yeah.
So
Anyway, so yeah, Tapu Koko, it's okay. I mean, I feel like it's all right. Nothing super special here,
yeah.
but it's not bad. Anyway, then we have Togepi and Togetic, which are very generic. Then we have Togekiss. Also they all attack for colorless. Togekiss is doing 140 for 3. And its ability Wonder Kiss whenever your opponent's active Pokemon gets knocked out, you flip a coin. If heads, take one extra prize, and the ability does not stack.
So look, this is potentially good. But the attack's not very good. It does 140 for 3.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, also I want to say there's another Togekiss in Standard, which has this interesting ability. Oh, there's two. There's the healing one too. But Togekiss with Precious Gift at the end of your turn, after you attack it and take your prizes, you
mhm.
can draw till you have 8 cards in hand, which is like kind of cool. And it has free retreat. This one has one retreat, but yeah.
Yeah, so and maybe it opens up possibilities with the other Togekiss too. But it doesn't stack, so you only get to flip one coin. You knock out the active, but you potentially can knock out multiple active Pokemon on one turn with the whole Dusknoir line there.
Oh
So,
yeah.
because if you can knock out the active with that, so or potentially multiple, so you could potentially be flipping twice on your turn, say once in the middle of your turn and then once at the end of your turn. So
Yeah.
in which case, it's 50-50 odds you taking one extra prize, is it's certainly a fun card to give a try to for sure. Is it going to just
I
be,
guess. I think it's not fun because I think it's going to be good and then it's going to be annoying.
oh, well, my guess is it's going to be a gimmick, right? But the talk I've heard, most people think it's not going to be good, but I think it might be, it's going to be somewhat viable, I would think.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty similar to Dusknoir. I mean, it's like different. They obviously do different things, but they allow you to take extra prizes.
Right.
But Dust Storm doesn't always let you take extra prizes, and you give a prize to do it. So,
Right.
Dust Storm might not be what you need or want, but Togekiss is no, it's stage twos are clearly not that hard to get into play, and just having one of these sitting on your bench can win you games, right? Like taking one extra prize throughout the course of the game is really a big deal. Taking two is like you should win if you like are taking two extra prizes. Um,
Yeah,
and
that
not winning. Like that's you'll probably win the game. But just getting one, I feel like is enough to like heavily favor you.
I mean, it depends on the prize map for that game, right? If like a lot of games are, it's two prize, two prize, two prize. You have to hit heads on both your first two knockouts to speed up the game. Otherwise, you're still having to get three knockouts,
Yeah.
right?
Or any of the three knockouts. Two out of the three. But oh wait, no, yeah, never mind.
Right.
The
If
first two
the
because
third
you're not
knockout,
doing
it
three.
doesn't matter. Right.
Yeah.
That's the right.
But also a lot of the time I feel like people want to send up a single prizer
Yes.
and also like I mean, I don't know, it just seems good. Um
Y-
the metagame's getting really weird with Dusknoir right now. Dusknoir is like one of the defining cards in the game, I feel like, and
Yeah.
it's doing weird stuff. But just that means that taking any extra prizes is almost always good and worthwhile, specifically in those matchups, which are
Right.
a lot of the top decks.
No, yeah, that's the big thing for a lot of these decks that you go against. And in decks I'll play, you're not worried about giving up if it's a multi-prize attacking deck, which most are somewhere along the line, you don't mind giving up that single prize thing because your opponent still has to get three additional knockouts. Now, that giving up that single prize Pokemon can lose you the game, right? As long as they hit one heads over right? If they have to take three knockouts instead of four, right? Because a single prize and two prizes, and they hit one head out of three coin flips, they've now won. So in that sense, you have reduced one knockout, one turn quicker for your opponent. So yeah, it could be big. The problem, look, it's stage two though. So if you play like a 1-0-2 line, then you're going to have one piece prized a decent amount of the time, and you still need, even with that, you need a
Wait,
rare.
what?
If you
Oh, like
play
one
a
basic.
1-0, yeah, one basic, no stage one, in a stage two, um,
Wait, what? So 101 line
a 1-0-1. Yeah, sorry, thank you.
with one rare candy, or what were you
Well,
saying?
probably it's probably going in a rare candy deck, right?
Yeah, okay,
That
that's
already
what I was thinking.
has four rare candies, or if it's a deck that had three, you're putting four in, but you're using up one of your rare candies also, which
Yeah,
is a precious commodity. And it's at least two cards for this, and with two cards, it's still a little iffy if it's prized. You have to decide, but so it is deck space, right? It's not on a basic. It's not even a stage one. It's less consistent than a stage one. That's part of the concern with it, right? It's a stage two.
yeah, but I don't know. I think this card's very good. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's broken, but I think it's good. It scares me. I don't like. I feel I didn't mind ADP if you're not familiar. It doesn't. It's like it takes extra prizes. It was very good. It was very consistent as well. Um, I didn't mind it because it was consistent. Like you knew if you're gonna like. I didn't love it, but it was it was like it was what it was. This isn't that because it changes what it does every
Right.
game based on coin flips. But I feel like Togekiss is pretty strong.
It could be. It might be. Yeah, it will push people to things where the Dusknoir line to take some extra prizes. More if you're playing like a Dragapult or something where you're getting some damage spread, you need to have extra gusting to gust up something in the middle of the turn, right? Those type of things could become a bigger thing, which in one sense could make more interesting gameplay. I don't know. Is it going to keep other decks from being viable? That's a concern.
Yeah, but you don't think it's like that good?
I think. Look, look. I'm looking forward to trying it. I think it's iffy. I think there's a good chance it's not going to be very viable, just because it's a stage two. And is it going to help the prize map off enough, right? Because obviously, when you flip coins, first off, you don't get what you need a decent amount of time, and that one extra prize, even when you get the heads, might isn't always going to be meaningful at the end of the game.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I've seen Duststorm. Like Duststorm's really good. I wasn't
Yes.
thinking it was gonna be like. I thought it was gonna be like okay, but it's been like insane. So I don't know. It just reminds me a lot of that. But
Okay.
um, anyway, so next we have the Hydreigon line, Dino and Zweilous. Each mill 1 and 2 for a darkness respectively. So
Okay.
you could use Relicanth. There's the stage 2. You can mill 2 for 1, but you probably aren't doing that because Hydreigon
No.
EX here is a stellar darkness Pokemon. For darkness colorless, you're doing 200 for for the two, and then you discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and then you have a
Yeah.
second attack here called Obsidian here, which is the stellar attack, which does 130 to your points active and 2 of their benched for a mere psychic darkness metal colorless.
This one's very good, or at least potentially very good, right? Look, I
Yeah,
like
it seems very
Mildex.
expensive.
It is.
Oh wait, which attack?
Well, also first off, I like Mildex. You don't like Mildex that much. So the first attack is
Yeah.
milling three is not bad, right? I mean, you're not going to win with just milling three per turn. Is someone that plays mill enough to know. Even if you mill four per turn, you're often going to come up short. But milling three and doing 200 damage, that's pretty crazy, right? For two energies isn't
Yeah.
terrible. And we have Dark Patch in format now, so we can power it up decently. So that's kind of that just relying on the first attack's pretty scary. And I think you're going to have to lean into that is the main attack. But then the second attack is, if you power it up, is crazy good, right? This is potentially the best attack in the game. 130 to three Pokemon. You're doing
I mean, the
390 damage in one turn.
there's also Flygon EX, which does 100 to each of your opponent's Pokemon EX and V, which
Yeah.
is like, are you familiar with that one?
Not really, but I can.
Okay, but that's what it does for its stellar attack with for on stage 2. It is one less energy, but different types.
Okay,
But so that one, I think it's all different types. But no, it's not all. Anyway, whatever. So that like is arguably better.
it could be,
Um, Not
but
necessarily though. It's only hitting EXs and Vs.
right.
So
In terms of damage output, that the attack's very good. You got to say that. The problem, of course, is can you power it up, which is why I don't think you can build a deck. I mean, there are things to help power up these Pokemon some, but it's going to be super tough to do, right? I would
yeah,
think. So,
there's Manaphy, but Manaphy will be rotating as well. We'll see if we get a replacement for that.
yeah. I mean, like last time we had the what it was Mew with bench barrier, and I think had rotated, and then we had a couple sets without it, and then they put in Manaphy. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
and Manaphy was also like if there was the newer rotation rules, which we're going by now, then Manaphy there wouldn't have been any time in between as well. So whatever, we'll see.
Yeah. So that I think the first attack is going to be the main attack on it if you play with it, because like I said, 200 and milling three is very good. It's a stage two, but it could be right, and then you're maybe hoping to power up like one attack with the over the course of the game with this second attack. That's kind of how I think it's playing. I think it probably has to be its own deck somewhat, just because it's so resource intensive being a stage two and all the energies. I'm not sure it's like in it part of a different deck, but this is probably have to be a High Dragon deck, I think.
Yeah. So I feel like the card's okay. I mean, it's like it's kind of weird, kind of silly, but it's okay.
Yes. I just think, look, it has a lot of upside, is what I'll say, right? The energy cost is a lot of downside to go with it.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean the first attack's solid as well. Like 200 and mill 3 is applying a lot of pressure to your opponent in multiple different ways.
mhm.
So if they want to just push a lot to try to one shot you and do that, then they might run out of cards in deck. And if they are just taking things slow, they'll just get knocked out and lose. So it is scary to deal with.
Right, in 300 HP, right? We're used to having to deal with 330 HP Pokemon at this point. They're not easy to one shot, so it's taking a couple. So if you are forcing your opponent to hit through three High Dragon EXs, between the damage and the milling, you have a decent chance of coming up as the winner. I got to think. So, can you get it to set up and all? Those are some of the bigger questions.
Yeah. And then we have Tatsugiri EX here, which is another Terra. Wait, no, it's not the last Terra. But it's the next Terra here,
Yeah.
and it has also all Terra Pokemon are immune to bench damage, which is like bad for High Dragon for its like spread attack. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's not
Yes.
great either. But anyway, so Tatsugiri EX here says Sneaky Pump 100 for Water Fire, and it does yeah, it just ignores effects, hits through effects. Which by the way, you wouldn't really play in High Dragon or no, in Regidraco, there are better attackers. Presumably, it depends exactly what you're looking for, but there are attacks that are just directly stronger. And then we have the second attack here, Cinnabar Lure, which does for Fire, Water, Darkness. Look at the top 10 cards of your deck, choose any number of Pokemon you find there, and put them onto your bench, and shuffle the other cards back into your deck.
Yeah, I mean that the second attack is the interesting one, right? The first attack is obviously more payable, but obviously for all these dragons, it's awkward anyway. Um, it's underwhelming 100. Hitting through effects is fine, but looking at, through the top 10 cards,
Oh,
you're
also it has 160 HP, which is like bad. No weakness, but 160 HP is the lowest on 2 prizes we see.
right. So this is the HP of Squawk ability, 10 less than it's in the neighborhood of Lumineon V. This is the HP of a support Pokemon, right? And I
Mhm.
think if you're playing it, you're using a support Pokemon. You're using it for, I would guess, the second attack. Which I guess maybe I mean Drag. I don't know. Dragapult doesn't use it. But so look, 10 cards. We do have some ways to control the top cards of your deck as well, right? Get a card or two from your hand. You get a card from your hand on top of the deck, and then you put Pokemon can be evolutions. So onto your bench. So now we can get 4 Archeops. So this is the new. This will bump out Lugia, right? No more Lugia V Star. Just do this on your. It's a basic, so you can attack turn 1, get 4 Archeops in play, right?
Mhm.
You don't think you're doing
That's
that?
what I'll No, that's easy. It's a piece of cake. Um, no, I that's,
You're not doing
I think
Archeops,
it's
but is there some shenanigans you can do? Maybe I'm not
I'm
sure how
just
you.
thinking how to power it up. Like,
Yeah,
you could, like, Sparkling Crystal Crispin, which is okay. I mean, that's not that hard, but it's not that easy either. And then you're paying it, and then you can just attack, which is, like, kinda funny. I feel like you can just do, like, weird random nonsense with it. I feel like you're not, like you could, like, stack 1 card on top with Academy at Night, but I feel like you aren't doing that because you wanna set up, so you probably play in, like, something else. I feel like you're just, like, ripping it and hoping it, like, hits.
you
Um,
are right
and
because you really want to use the supporter, right? That you put 2 on top of your deck, right? Which I'm blanking on. My apologies there.
yeah, aside from Maniac's code breaking.
Right. Then you get 2, but you probably have to use your supporter to get this set up. So, and if you can't, you probably would have to go second, use it your first turn, because otherwise you're using your attack, and it's a 160 HP 2 prizer. It's getting knocked out. Your opponent says thank you for the 2 cheap prizes, right? So, you'd have to be able to use the attack your first turn going second. I imagine.
Yeah, but I think it is fun. It's definitely a card that's tempting to me.
Yeah.
I don't really know if it's, like and I think it's not a good card. I think it's like, a meme card, but I think it's a really
Yes.
funny card.
It's a meme deck, and you make a video, and you might have to play 20 or 30 games to get the one game where it works, right? But that's the only game you upload for it.
Yeah, I feel like it's, it's not this one. It's a funny card, though. I think it's one I wanna play. It could be used in control, right? You could use some control stuff with it. It could be alright for that, so
Yeah, I guess you still have to power it up though. So I'm not in control decks. I don't know have the space for extra cards to get things powered up.
well, I feel like this is like it's like a control deck with Tetsuya EX is like the focus, and then you get, like, I don't know, like, it's like Pidgeot control without any Pidgeys and 1 Pidgeot
So,
or
or
something.
well, it's like a Snorlax control deck, and then you slap this on your bench, and you hope your opponent just is stuck there for like 4 or 5 turns, and then eventually you switch in and attack this after like 4 turns to power it up.
Yeah, maybe, but Tatsuyori, it's a fun card.
Yeah, it's some silly fun is what I would say there. Then
Mhm.
we have the slacking line, which is another stage 2. This one is not a Terra Pokemon, correct?
No,
No.
but, it's got 340 HP and has this, attack, which is 280 for 2 colorless, and discard an energy from this Pokemon, which is solid. Nothing insane there. And then you have this
No,
ability
it's very
slacking
good.
off.
One energy attack, one double turbo, you're doing 260, right? That's
That's,
pretty
like, pretty
good.
good, but you really do wanna be hitting 280.
That's true. But
So,
and the ability that you're
um
about to get to just ruins the day here.
yeah, it's not that bad. I think it's not like I mean, it's obviously a bad so what it says is if your opponent has no Pokemon EX or V in play, this Pokemon can attack. I think most of the time they will have an EX or V in play. There are some decks that like single prize decks only play like Fez-Nifty EX, and then you want to boss knock out Fez-Nifty EX, but then once you knock it out, you can't attack anymore. But
Right.
um, and I don't think there's not like really a way to turn this off. I mean, there are like some weird ways, but I think they're all your opponent turns it off. So,
Yeah.
um,
I think so. I mean, the deck really needs Path to the Peak to be in format, right? I mean, the
yeah.
card needs that, and obviously that's not in format. Maybe it's an indication. Wait, isn't there something that's coming that's going to turn off abilities for it?
Uh,
Or is
uh,
there anything that would do that? Because obviously there's something like the Iron Thorns, but of course that has to be in your active, unless your opponent helps you out, which I imagine they're not going to. So your Iron Thorns has to be in the active for it
yeah.
to
Well,
be
no,
an
I mean, if
effect.
Iron Thorns is in play, it doesn't matter anyway because you can attack. So,
if it's in the
Right.
active. But for you to attack, you can't have it, your opponent has to put it in play. Is
Oh,
my
it has
point.
no Pokemon. Oh, I thought it's no. I thought it's if they have an EX and or V, it can't attack. Oh, that's bad. I thought it was the other way
Yeah, no, you
around.
can't. And once you're up against Charizard, you just can't attack. Whatever
Yeah.
they
So
drop
that's like,
down Rotom V, it's no good. So unless there's Path to the Peak, this is basically unplayable, right?
yeah, this is pretty bad. I'm trying to think if there's something like it. I'm checking, but um,
If you know of something, let us know. I mean, obviously, expanded, you could do it, but expanded's a lot better. You have Path to the Peak, and you just have double colorless energy, so you can do the full 280, right? So, um,
yeah,
you probably have better You have a lot of options expanded, so I don't know if it fits in that format or not. 340 HP is very nice though, so that
yeah.
part is good.
So Slacking EX is it's something.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just, yeah, how well it'll work, I don't know. So, and then there's a couple of trainer cards. We got supporter. We have Jasmine's Gaze here, which I think is one of
Wait,
worth.
no, no, sorry. Wait. So what's to say if your opponent has?
No Pokemon EX or V in play, it can't attack. So it can only attack if. So you were right the first time. If your opponent
Okay, I was
has
right.
an
Yeah,
EX in play, it
I
can
thought I was
attack.
right.
If it's a
Okay.
single prize deck, if you're up against Ancient Box, they just don't bench their Pheasantipity, and
Yeah.
you
So this
cry.
is okay. This is playable.
Yeah, it's a stage two, and it's going to be hitting 260 unless you can accelerate to it. So it is it's really not good enough. I don't think, right?
Yeah, but it's like okay, I guess. Yeah, you confused me. Well,
Okay,
actually,
no,
I confused me. It was a double negative. Why do they do
the
it
way they
double negative?
wrote it is awkward, I would say.
Yeah.
Um,
Because there's a another Pokemon. There's a Slacking V which says oh no, it says they can't. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, Slacking
yeah,
EX is a Pokemon. It's like kind of funny. Nothing super. It's kind of weird.
yeah. I mean, look, the good thing is it's 340 HP. It is colorless, which does have certain benefits for healing. Right now, we have Sharon's Care in the game, so that is nice for it. And there's some healing things, right? So
Like what?
I don't remember now. There's the attacker. Is that going to be on the next set of cards? There's an attack that heals up like
Um
your cards, right?
oh, but that's like not colorless necessarily.
That's true. So
No, I don't think that heals this up. But
oh,
anyway, so
doesn't it? So okay. So yeah. So you can give it a go. And then Jasmine's Gaze, the supporter. During your opponent's next turn, each of your Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. And obviously, as there's a number of bench sniping things, so it reduces your bench as well.
yeah, but not like against Dragapult. So
Right, not against placing damage counters. And obviously doesn't help you for something that like Roaring Moon EX that just knocks you out. But take it may have a spot in a few decks. I think one copy of this might go in a few decks. That's what I'd say. It's not a crazy good card, but it's not bulk garbage completely.
no. And then we got this other card here, this tool, which might be this is playable as well. I think.
Really?
It's
Okay.
yeah. So we're getting these presumably for every type. I
Yeah.
don't know about dragon or colorless, but it's a tool. Says whenever the Pokemon this card is attached was damaged by an attack from a certain type of Pokemon, it takes 60 less from that attack. And then you discard this card. It will stay attached until it gets hit, though. So
Yeah.
this one, for example, is from Darkness Pokemon, which I do think might be the best type. Charizard EX is very good, and then there were like the Roaring Moon stuff. So it's like okay, it's not like that good, but I think it's the best one of all of them. Shouldn't
E-
say that, but maybe Dragon's the best. But
That's the one. The Dragon would be the one I would want to have it for, and that one might not come out right. It might just be the eight base types of basic energy in game. It would be my guess, because Dragapult is making it very difficult for me to play. A lot of decks just are very tough against Dragapult. So I would like help against that. There's things to do against Charizard, but yeah, I mean for Darkness, yeah, it's useful if you have a deck and like playing, Charizard is around a fair amount, and that's really the deck you're going to lose to. Then you might put one or two copies of this in, right?
yeah, but if you're like weak to it, then it's not doing much either.
That is true. And it's after weakness, the reduction
Yeah.
too. It's not if it was before weakness, then it would be a lot better. We're reducing 120 in essence, but yeah. I mean, we do have Arvin in format, so tools are accessible. 60 damage reduction's good, but obviously only for one type. I'm not sure that it'll see much play.
Yeah. Then we are moving on to our last article here,
Yep.
and this one is about there's Pikachu EX. Pikachu EX is probably the coolest card, and or should we just start with Magneton, or should we start with Pikachu EX?
Why don't we jump to Magneton then, which is the stage one. There's a basic a Magnemite, a Magneton, and a Magnezone. The Magnezone's nothing great. It does 180 for 4 energy. That's not good.
Awesome.
And then it
Yeah.
can't use that attack the following turn, so it's terrible. But Magneton here has
Well, the Magnezone, the first attack's okay. Does 80? They are confused and can't retreat, which is like it's not that good, but I think it's
right.
okay.
I mean, they attack and then they flip a coin, right? So it's 50-50 whether they can do something, assuming they can't evolve or don't have a switching card or something, of course.
Yeah. And I will say the Magneton is not a new card. It is a well, it's a card we've seen as a pre-release promo. It is confirmed to be a pre-release promo.
Okay.
For yeah, the four was it Surging Sparks and
Okay, so wait, so it will be a pre-release promo.
yeah.
Okay, I mean it's a new card. It's not this isn't the first time this card's been revealed, is your point. But the card isn't.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have the card yet.
No. Yeah. So and by the way, the 4 pre-release promos are, I believe, Gouging Fire, this Magneton, Indeedee, and Chimpao. We don't know the Chimpao yet.
Okay.
But
So it has an ability. It's got an attack, does 40 for 2. That we don't care about that. But Overvolt Discharge is what they're calling it here. Once during a turn, you may attach up to 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your lightning Pokemon any way you like. So it can go in the active as well, which is something most of these lightning accelerations don't do. And if you use this ability, this Pokemon is knocked out. So you're giving up a prize in the process. Obviously, for the Dusknoir line, the knocking out is generally it's Dusknoir is very good. So the knocking out in that case isn't a bad thing. Now, of course, you're doing damage. This doesn't do that. And of course, the Dusknoir can work with Charizard, which really likes it. This could in theory, but you're probably not playing Lightning Energy. And I imagine if you don't have Lightning Energy in the discard pile, you couldn't use the ability since the discard pile is.
well, no, it's Lightning Pokemon, not Lightning Energy.
Is it just your Lightning? Oh, okay. So it could be any type of energy. Okay, so I didn't think. Oh, so we have the item lock EX stage 1, right? Which starts with
Galvantula. Yeah.
Galvantula, so that could power that up too. So it could power up a Terra with the different energies you need as well. That's good.
Your Stellar specifically.
Yeah. So it's not bad, right? Is what
Yeah,
I'd
I
say.
think it's pretty solid. I think it's a good card. You could play it in you could play it in Miraidon. You could play it in I don't know, like things that Miraidon plays, right? You could pair it with those cards.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty solid card.
Yeah. I mean, I think yes, it could. It does let you power up your Galvantula in one turn if that's what you want to do. Because I've tried Galvantula a little bit. I was complaining before about how I've been playing all
Galvin.
What
It has Well, you said Galvantula.
Okay, sorry, Galvantula. Yes, has an A.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but
yeah. So and I tried that, and the fact that it had to evolve before you could item lock. My opponent played their rare candies like every time, and it just didn't matter. So
yeah,
I still have that issue with evolving, but I can power it up better, right? Or other options too. So I do like, it's interesting. I think it's not a bad card at all. Right? And
yeah.
And then it fits with the Pikachu, which is why I think you brought it up. That Pikachu EX is a basic EX. Now EX's except for Pikachu, are all final evolutions. Pikachu's not the final evolution. It's a little weird that way.
Is that actually true? So I just want to.
Am I wrong about that? I can't.
No, I don't know. I want to see if there are any other in standard. I assume you're talking about.
Yeah, I think you've told me that, so I believe it.
I mean, they're generally are
right. I mean, Pikachu's is obviously Pikachu, so it's its own category, right?
Yeah.
Because
that could be true. I kind of want to check because I don't actually know.
Well, you can take a look. I'll read off the card while you take a look. So it's got a couple things. It's got its ability Tenacious Heart, which is very good. If this Pokemon has full HP and will be knocked out by damage from an attack, it isn't knocked out, and its remaining HP becomes 10 instead. So that's very good. That's knocked out by damage. So if it's knocked out by an effect, such as Roaring Mooney X or Giratina V Star, then you're still knocked out. But you're knocked out by damage. That's very good. It's because it's only 200 HP, so it's on the low side for a multi-prizer. So that's good. Obviously, Dust Snore becomes very important. Having a way to ping the Pokemon will be very important if this becomes prominent, because you want to get at least some damage counters on it, or Radiant Alakazam, right? That's the one I believe that moves the damage counters. All those things do it. And then the attack on it, it's for grass, lightning, metal, because it is a stellar Pokemon. Does 300 damage, and you discard 3 energy. Which that part's not good, but 300 damage, of course, is a very nice number to be hitting on a basic Pokemon.
Oh, I found it. I found it.
Okay,
We
so
got well, actually,
what's
there is a Pikachu EX. No, there's 2 Pikachu EXs, but no,
yeah?
there's Sprigatito EX. I was like, I thought there was one, and there is.
Oh
Um,
no, okay,
Sprigatito EX, so you're wrong.
all right. So
Wow, that was so worth looking for. But yeah,
I
no,
feel very enlightened for that. Thank you.
mhm. And
So
you can't believe the mistake you made, right?
yeah, very amateur hour on my part. So the Sprigatino, that's okay. That seems a little weird because I mean, Pikachu is Pikachu, right? Sprigatino is no Pikachu.
No, I don't know why there's a Sprigatito EX, but it's really bad. It's some like random promo. But anyways, um,
So
so
so your thoughts on the card? The ability, very good, right? The attack, good as long as you get powered up.
yeah, the attack's like solid. I mean, it's very strong on a basic, obviously,
Yeah,
but it has the pretty serious downside of like discarding all the energy, and the idea is to survive a hit. So then
right.
you might need to, because you're probably powering this up with Magneton, I feel like. But then if you're using Magneton, then you're also going to be like knocking
Giving
yourself
up
out. You don't want to like
prizes.
knock yourself out over and over and over again.
Right, because if every time you attack, you're giving up one prize. Not giving up one prize instead of two is not terrible, but then you have to use Magneton the first time to attack. Then they hit into you, you go down to 10 HP. You have to use Magneton again, give a prize, and then you get knocked out the following turn. So you're giving up 4 prizes then over 2 turns, which is what you'd be doing normally, right? There is what like Glass Trumpet, and that goes to Stellar Pokemon. Is that correct, or is that to colorless?
No, that's too colorless. You need a stellar Pokemon in
In
play,
play,
but
okay. So, is there anything that helps with Stellar Pokemon?
I mean, there's like Sparkling Crystal. Then there was also like Crispin.
So,
But
Crispin, Sparkling Crystal, you could power it up
yeah,
in one
Crispin
turn,
goes to anything. But yeah,
but you need a
and
Terra,
there's Electric Generator as well.
right? Because it is lightning. So, to get the one lightning. So, but 300, obviously 280 is kind of the magic number. So, doing 300 on a basic is very good. Um, the question is the ability, right? Is it going to work well enough? And then is if you're playing generator, then it's probably in a lightning box deck, I'm guessing. But now we're having to have grass and metal energies in it, and that hurts obviously the whole generator system. So because you need lots of lightning energies to hit more consistently.
Yeah, so I feel like you could like Penny. I feel like Penny like in control or like stall stuff is really good
Mhm.
um for looping this. Like if your opponent can't ever knock this out, it's like it's an invincible wall, right?
Yeah, I mean you have to keep getting back the pennies every
Yeah.
turn, and but it's doable, and it's doable now because you got the Pidgeot V. Once that rotates, because you're going to have to take a lot of turns, right, with this. So you
Uh Wait, why do you need Pidgeot V?
Well, you just at some point you have to worry about decking out. You're going to have a very my point is you're going to have a very long game if you're
Well, I think the thing you're gonna do, like, you're not gonna be able to penny every turn, but you can do it a lot. And then you can be setting up, you'll be setting up your Tatsugiri EX behind this, right? That's the strat.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like because it's a wall or counter deck. So am I playing it with Iron Thorns? I'm slapping Iron Thorns and I'm kind of powering up this behind it, or some other things. I'm not sure, right? But like
Yeah.
a Snorlax deck that plays pennies, is there a place for this in the deck? I'm not so sure there is though, right?
Um, Maybe. I think it's solid. Like, there are decks that you can't wall off any other way, right? Um,
Yes, yeah, just
so
right. It would, and obviously the big question is Dusknoir is a big deal right now. So if Dusknoir is around in a lot of decks, which I think it is, then this value drops off a lot, though.
uh yeah, but if they just hit you, Oh yeah, no, because it needs to start at full HP, but they are still having to use Dust more for like less value than normal.
Correct. So yes, it does. Yeah, it does help you some, and it depends how many dust snorers and all what their lines are in the recovery in that regard. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a nice ability. This ability hasn't been an ability on a basic Pokemon before, I don't think.
yeah. Oh, I actually don't know, but also it is what was I gonna say? There is the like Miraidon plays Mewtwo EX, and I think because it's searchable off of Miraidon EX, but then it can enable the bigger bench. So this would probably
Okay.
be the one you're playing there, because it has one retreat as opposed to two retreat, and it also does have a usable ability, but mostly for the retreat cost.
Okay, Yep, I can see you drop it in for that with Miraidon Lightning. It fits in that, and then you have to see if there's enough value in it to be an attacker that you want to get the energies in the deck to take advantage of it or not. So, it's going to see play for sure. I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's going to see play. It's very intriguing for sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Then we have Terapagos is the last Pokemon with its attack Prism Charge for one color. It can do 100 for three as well, which is okay. But Prism Charge here says you search your deck for up to three basic energy cards, all of different types, and attach them to
yeah.
your Terra Pokemon in any way you like, which is obviously useful for powering up Stellar Pokemon, or like Dragapult EX as well, I guess.
Although it has to be evolved, right? So Terapagos.
Um, oh yeah, yeah. So no, it's mostly good for like,
So for like your
I,
Pikachu,
yeah,
I mean, so here's the question, right? Because what you want to do, obviously, the release is with Pikachu, and they kind of group them together because they're logic, and there's other things as well. But Pikachu, we need these three different energies, so you go first. You attack now with on a basic stellar deck. It has to be a basic stellar deck. I mean, you want to go second. You attack for one energy, and you're searching your deck, not your discard pile. So you're powering up your stellar Pokemon, so you're ready to attack with your scary attack turn two with it. So with if you're playing a basic stellar deck or you're playing the colorless stellar Pokemon that's the best one right now, which is what
Terapagos.
Terapagos, right? You need the energies for that too, and you want to go first with that, right? But now if you go second, you probably play a copy of the single price Terapagos in a deck like that, I would think.
Maybe, but only if you're not just running like double turbos. Like if you're only running like double turbos and
Oh,
special energy, then do anything.
that's true.
So, but it's a solid card. Also, I want to say with Pikachu EX 300 isn't necessarily enough to one shot everything, but there are the
No,
Zapdoses and there are other ways to damage buff, so you can do that.
right. And we have Regieleki VMAX right now. I mean,
That's true.
so let's take advantage of that while we can, right? Then now we can one shot everything with a couple of the VMAXs going. So
That's true.
you're not a believer in that, I said. So
I don't know. I Reggie Lucky VMAX isn't the best card in the game. It's kind of bad. It's
eh.
not that bad, but having a three prizer is like a big
Oh,
liability.
it's got
So
free retreat, and that makes every card great. You know that, right?
that's true.
It's a pivot, so it doesn't matter. So look, Terapagos, because the second attack's not very good, but the first attack, maybe, right? If you go second, right, on your first turn, you might want to do it.
Yeah. Then we have the supporter Cyrano here, and that one says you just search your deck for three Pokemon EX and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This seems pretty solid.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, there's a lot of EXs around, and they can be basics or evolutions. Basic stage one, stage two. So pretty good. You're probably gonna slot like one copy of. I'm thinking maybe multiple copies, like a Pidgeot EX deck with other EXs like Dragapult or um, Charizard. Probably plays this. I'm guessing. I could be wrong. So it'll have place in some decks, I would think.
Yeah, I don't think it's like that good though.
No, it's
It's
not
okay. I mean,
great.
it's like awkward. If you can like find it, it's good, but it's not super easy to find.
Correct. Like I said, I'm thinking like a Pidgeot deck where you might want to use it once over the course of the game, and you can find it that turn that you need it.
Yeah, but you want to use it to find the Pidgeot, right?
Well, yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, yeah. I was hoping you wouldn't say that, but yes, I would prefer that. So yeah, that doesn't work.
yeah,
So we have a tool here. We had a couple tools. So we have another technical machine, which I was surprised to see that there are more technical machines coming. This is Fluorite, and you know how technical machines work, so I'm not going to ignore that. But it is for Grass Water Psychic. That's not good, but what it does is pretty good. Actually, it's very good. You discard all energy from this Pokemon. If you do, you heal all damage from each of your Terra Pokemon. So that's very, very nice, right? Um, and if we have like our Stellar Pikachu, right? It's a Terra Pokemon. It's down to 10, and we can just heal that up plus whatever else we have damaged of our Terras on the bench. So I like it a lot. The question is, how do you get the energy onto it? Obviously,
I
if
mean,
you
I feel like it's, but like you attack and then your opponent can just gust or take a knockout or something. I feel like it's like kind of niche.
well, it would have to probably go in like a deck with like Cramorant. Is there a Lost Zone deck that has Terra Pokemon? Obviously, there's like Lost Zone Dragapult. Would you put it in that? Like one copy of it in there?
Maybe I don't know.
Would it goes in, or you need it in a deck with like Radiant Charizard or the was it Blood Moon Ursaluna? That's the one that can attack for free too as the game goes on, right?
Yeah.
And its HP's high. It's hopefully not
Oh
getting.
no, it doesn't attack for free. The EX, no, well, it attacks for less colorless energy. Also, it's only the Blood Moon attack.
Oh,
So no, that's
and the Charizard also, the Radiant Charizard also is
yeah,
colorless less, so that doesn't help. So really, the only thing it works with that I can think of is Cramorant because that
yeah,
ignores all attack cost. So
yeah.
maybe it goes in Lost Zone, but but it has to be a Lost Zone a Terra deck. So all right, so you don't like it and you talk me out of it. I hate it too.
Okay, lovely. So then we have two stadiums which are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
They're the first one here, Amped Amphitheater, says for it's a stadium and that each basic Pokemon in play has 30 more HP, which is pretty solid. Can be bumped obviously, but yeah,
Right. I mean, basic decks are around either single prize basics or big basic decks. I always like those. So getting an extra 30 HP is very nice, right? So, yeah, I think it'll, definitely going to see play in some decks, right? So a good stadium there is what I'd say.
yeah.
Um,
Then anything else to say about it?
No, I think that's more straightforward. I think the next one's more interesting of what it may be useful for. So Gravity Mountains, the translation here, and the maximum HP of all stage 2 Pokemon in play is reduced by 30. And that one's more interesting. I'm not sure, is it going to be good or not good? Obviously, playing like Charizard EX up against Dragapult EX, those that over 300 HP is tough to get to. So reducing by 30 may be helpful in some situations. So maybe is this card going to be useful for some decks? That's where I'm not sure about.
Yeah, and we're talking about Pikachu EX, and that I mean that's saying 300, so it could be
Right.
good there. Um, yeah,
Yes. Yeah. So right. So with Pikachu EX now we can take out those stage 2 EXs. It's just obviously there's a lot of pieces as well as powering it up with something like that. So like I said, it's probably is it going to be for the Dragapult matchup or something like that to bring it down to something that can get, if you can get to like 300 with a deck, right? Is this give you enough value? There's some decks that get to that number, right? So it may go in a couple decks. I'm not sure.
yeah. And then the last card here is a card I think you're very excited for, Miracle Intercom, which says it's an ace spec and it's an item letting you recover 2 supporters from your discard pile into your hand.
Yeah, so if you played expanded format or played standard back in the day, Versus Seeker is a very good card. We can't play it in live expanded beta because they can't get those cards to work yet. They can't get the cards they have now to work either, but that's beside the point. So Versus Seeker very good. It puts one supporter from the discard pile into your hand. That's good. This is twice as good, right? So now it's busted. Well, okay, I know it's not because it's an A spec and that you can only have one copy of it and you can't have a different A spec, but it's still pretty good. And I think it's an A spec. I think it's a fair A spec. I think it will see play in some decks, which is what I like. I think cards shouldn't be the best card every time you see it. Oh, this is the best A spec. This is the best A spec. I don't think that's interesting. I think this is a viable A spec that will get consideration for decks and see play in some.
Yeah, I think it's not like so you compare it to Versus Seeker. Like I mean, it's like Versus Seeker,
Mm-hmm.
but Versus Seeker, like you play the supporter the turn you get it, but you
Right.
don't really get value off of getting a second supporter. I feel
You
like
get
you get a little bit of value, but you don't get that much value.
Well, what you get is it's better than playing your pal pad that gets 2 supporters back into your deck. You get first off, it's playable that turn because it goes into your hand, and then you also have your supporter for the following turn. If your opponent can't either has to disrupt your hand, or if they either have to disrupt your hand, which they might not be able to do. So it does have some value, right? I mean, I'd rather have it saying up to 2, right? That's better than only 1, right? It's better. If it said up to 3, you'd say that's better than this too. So it's not a bad thing it says that. But yeah, the value of the second supporter is a lot less than the first supporter.
Yeah, so I feel like it's okay. I don't think it's like a bad ace spec, but I don't think it's that good either. Um, I feel like a lot of the time it's like, oh, I'm getting boss for game, and it's like, well, I could just play Prime Catcher, right? So
Yeah, no, but the question is it going controlled style decks, right? Because the control style decks you're playing Pal Pad and you're playing like Pokegear 3.0, you're combining it into this one card, right? So like a control wall stall deck, I think is where I'd be considering this for play.
yeah, but I feel like it's also I mean, there are like a lot of really good ace specs for control, or very solid ace specs.
Yeah,
So
look, I think it's a good ace spec. I don't think it's a great ace spec. I'm joking when it's better than Versus Seeker because it's not, because it's an ace spec, and
yeah,
that. But I think it's Versus Seeker is a great card though, right? It's not just a good card; it's a great card. So having something that does that is an ace spec. I think they got the balance right. I think giving 2 supporters is probably right. I think it's worth considering. It will have value in some decks, I think, as well as some attacking decks. People will figure out some uses for it with a card like this. They always do, and I think this is out there. Keep it in mind. It'll fit into some things.
yeah.
You don't believe me, but anyway. So
I think it's I don't know. I don't think it's that good. Um, I don't think it's completely terrible. I don't know. I just don't love the design of it because I feel like the second one like doesn't do anything. But whatever.
it's in the top half of ace specs we have. Probably it's in the top. I don't know if it's top quarter. It's in the top third, probably. I think. I don't know. If you do a tier list, which you love your tier list, we'll have to see where you put it. Right? It's probably
Yeah.
it's like a B tier ace spec probably.
I don't know.
It is. I'm just telling you, don't make it lower than B tier. Just when you're gonna do an ace spec tier list with this in it, if you put it in C tier, I'm gonna have to take issue.
Okay. I guess I know what I'm gonna do.
You're ranking it D tier. I know you
D
are.
tier. No, I don't know. We'll see. I don't. I mean, I don't think it's that good, but
All right. I think we've said we've talked enough here, right?
yeah. You know, I don't think we overstayed our welcome. Maybe we did, but
There's some good cards though, right? There's some okay cards and there's some good cards, and which I think is always fair, right? We're not being overblown by super hype cards, but there's a lot of playable options within this set.
yeah. And the stadium, like the one that reduces HP on
Stage twos.
yeah, is kind of is cool. There's some cool cards here. That I don't know. There's the Tatsier. The Tatsier is my favorite card.
Not to play though, right?
Yeah.
Or to play it for is in a meme type deck, right?
Yeah. I think it's a very funny card. Um, yeah.
Well, here's my challenge. When this comes out, you have the Tatsugiri, and then we have the other one that what looks at the top 20 cards and accelerates energies, right?
Yeah.
So you play this first, get a whole bunch of Pokemon to play, and then you do the other one, and just flood on, and you just power them all up. And then you've given up 4 prizes at that point, and can you win the game? So that I think that's the
I mean, I don't
challenge.
think you can power them up. I don't think you're gonna get to the point where you power them up, but it's still like, you know.
Yeah, but it's in that, but it's kind of silly like that one is, right?
Yeah, I think it's more silly because you can do like crazier stuff, but it's like worse.
Yeah, I guess the question to me is, can we do something with an expanded, right? If we get Double Dragon, right? If we had full expand with Double Dragon, then maybe
Yeah, maybe. It would be certainly kind of funny, and you could do some stuff.
it gets closer to being viable at that point, for
Mhm.
sure. So, all right. So I think we've said enough here. So I think it's time to say goodbye, and hopefully you liked it. You can let us know in the comments on our YouTube channels what you think about any of these cards, what you're looking forward to. I'm glad that we talked about these at this point because it's the next set. I never like it when it's like the set after the next set talking about. So these aren't that far away. So that's the good thing. So
Yeah, only like 2 months.
which is short for the Pokemon world, the way things work,
Yeah,
right?
no, it's like a month and a half, I think.
Yeah, it's early. It's early November. November 8th, I believe, is the
Oh
date
yeah,
it's
it's like a month.
dropping.
Yeah. So
So, and the problem is we'll have been playing Pocket for a week, so we won't we'll have forgotten about the old TCG at that
no.
point.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the end of October. Yeah, yeah. So, um, who knows? Um, it is what it is. Which might be good. Who knows? But
Yeah.
anyways, we hope you enjoyed the podcast. And as Uncommon Fossil said, leave comments on our channels. That's the best place for us to see them. But you can check us out on podcasting platforms as well. But we hope you enjoyed, and we're excited to see you with the next episode.
All right, take care.